home garage is in session. Back on the 41 Mercury. Just before vacation, I was considering this issue with the spring here. The front spring didn't seem like it belonged to this car. And you know I'm no quitter, so we had a lot of suggestions. Make the shackles longer, flip the eye on the spring, the list goes on. The measurement on the spring didn't seem to add up. I came up with a couple ideas. I broke apart the spring pack and cleaned it. What I was just doing was hammering out all the old hardware, the bushings, all that stuff. So we're basically at square one with an old spring, separate from the pack. We're going to try to reverse that, see what happens. Easier said than done. Hi, Doug. You glad we're home? Huh? I said, are you glad we're home? Are you glad we're home? Good blue. All right, enough of the dogs. What I got is all this stuff in a wrapper. Greasy springs. If you remember the old spring pack, it was really bound up in some metal and fiber, but I have the longest one with the ends and then all the rest. So I'm going to try to flip this upside down. What I was just doing on a time lapse was using the air hammer. I got new hardware from the vintage Ford store. And I'm going to try to put in this leaf spring upside down and see if anything adds up. Get my gloves on. It's going to be oily. All right, so here is the longest leaf with the eyes. And I was having a problem with this because see how worn out the bushing is? I mean, that just, that is old age, but I was also concerned with how soft this rubber was. And someone pointed out, okay, well, they've been soaked in grease for X amount of years. Maybe that softened them up. Maybe. This one is completely broken through, but none of the measurements for the 41 Mercury were adding up to what these rubber pieces afforded. That's where I got stuck, like in my head, right? So see, if I'm pushing these through, they don't want to go. And I can't really hammer on it. And I don't have a press. That's kind of what I'm getting towards. See, well, let me grab one of the old pieces. So this piece here, definitely the old one slides right in there, right? But the new ones are just a little bit bigger. And these fit the axle perfectly. They hammered in like flawlessly, but they don't fit this. See where I'm getting hung up on? I feel like this whole setup with the spring, etc., is just from a different vehicle. So I got to thinking, well, what would a guy do just to set this in place and see if it might go in somehow? So, I mean, any kind of bushing can be gotten, right? So it's just an interior diameter and an outside diameter. So let's just cut to the chase on this and say, these are no good. Let's just get them out of there anyway. So now we just got the raw eye of the spring. And just to suspend the car on the spring to see what the shackle angle will be, I think is doable. Because the spring sat in the car like this. And the eye is down here, so it's raising the car. And in the videos I watched and the suggestions I've had, they say you take the long spring, you flip it, and then you de-arch it. And I've seen them de-arched in a number of different ways, from putting it on somebody's trailer and bending it backwards to putting it in a press, etc. So I thought, what if I just put this through the shackles, no bushings, put it in the spring perch and just drop the car on it? Wouldn't that de-arch it? I don't know. Let's try. That's what I'm talking about. Live guesswork right here. Well, it's recorded live in front of a YouTube audience. Let's just say if we were to have this sitting there, and we got the little shackle of the dackle. Try to get this bolt off. or nut rather. Yeah, this thing was really crusty. I had to slice and dice and air hammer and all kinds of fun stuff just to get this thing to want to go. But now I'm just going to put these bolts on loose. We're just, you know, I don't think this is going to hold the car up at all. I'm looking to completely reverse the arch of the spring. I'm looking to collapse it. I just feel like because this is the position it belongs in the car, might be a controlled smush. Honestly, the first time trying this ever. All right, got these bolts on the back here. So I'm going to look at the orientation. Actually, you know what? I'm going to tighten these up because when I say controlled smush, that's what I'm looking for. I don't want it to bend this hardware. Yeah, let me just tighten these up because these look like they might have the opportunity to drift a little sideways. Let's get that tight. Yeah, cool. So that's nice and tight on there. That looks good. Yeah, let's do the same to the other side. And I'm going to take this paper off. It's just, these things were so oily and I had to put them in the car and all that other fun stuff. So this is what I'm getting at. We're going to have to take the second longest spring. And I might have to trim it because I did have like it's like a little surround that went around the eye on this. I'll show the detail in a sec. This is the thing about springs. You know, you want to collapse that, but you want to be sure that this isn't going to fold that way. You want them to swing out. All right, this is where it gets oily. Here we go. I'm going to put this under here and see what happens. I know it's going to lift the axle off the ground. I'm just trying to get a guesstimate of what the heck's going to happen here. Looking at the angle of these. So what I'm looking at is the angle of that shackle. That doesn't look bad at all. And the spring is about as long as it gets. Then coming over here, that one is a lot further out. But they're going to even out just because of the weight of the vehicle in the end. They're going to find their own center. But we want to get that spring up inside there and then somehow stack more. So that was a decent first try. Dang it, I wish I had clamps here. Let me see, I might be able to come up with something. Okay, so this axle's definitely got to come forward to go inside that thing. I think I might be able to stack this. See, I'm gonna try to get this up through here. That might work. That might work. Let me put a glove on, see if I can set this up. Let's see it. Let's just watch it all come apart. Probably will. I hope this doesn't shoot right back at me. It might. That's what we're here for, right? Ooh, it just went in. I had a clamp. So that's up where it needs to go. I wonder if I couldn't take those jack stands. Dicey. But I just collapse that and see if I can't. As I mentioned, the de-arching of the spring is kind of first task. Yeah, so looking at this now, that is basically very close to vertical. This one is swung all the way over. That's not really what we're looking for. Try to put a little pry bar on this. Yeah, I mean, look at that one. Look at that one. If they were even, it would be a pretty wide swing on those shackles. And then, of course, comes the question, well, why don't you just buy the right spring? Well, the reason is we're trying to avoid that fee of $300, $400. I might just have to do that. It's funny because I really deal with this with my car trailer as well. I'm pretty sure they're the right springs, but they're a real pain to get to index properly. Something very similar to this. Let's find that second spring. Wish I had my engine hoist here. I could just pick up the car and roll this axle out. How would I do that? I would lift it by this. I would put the jack stands behind And I would roll the axle out. That's exactly how I do it. Let's see if this does anything for it. That's what I said. I'll put these behind. Oof, I hate that noise. I don't even know what that was. I think the car just rolled backwards on the jack stands. See, this is what we're dealing with here. So to the people saying, the next step would be to grab this one. And these are the little pieces that go around like that. But if we were to reverse it, that's got to go here. And it's got to be smushed down. It's got to clamp inside there. So I believe you'd have to cut this or go to the next shorter. To be this one. Now will that reverse? See what I'm getting at? Maybe just start off like this. Try to pull that together. Ay, 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 what a pain. And they just seem like they're way too arched. You know, what I've seen is you have a rod that goes straight through. So as this comes together, they collapse. But I would have to get the floor jack under this with the rod in place. And yeah, then the engine's got to come out. Could put a thread rod through here, but I don't have one. I know, all the keyboard know-it-alls are already lining up, telling me what to do. But what if this isn't the spring for the car? Come up with some assemblage of long to short. Yeah. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a very long one. This one's even longer. And then that's definitely the end. And then here we go. Here's the center of the stack, or the smaller end of the stack with the bolt in there. So this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 leaves. One for every month of the year. I don't know. What do we think? Are we going to take a vote on this? Like, to do all that work and find out that these shackles are still going to bind? Do we need that kind of pressure in our lives? I mean, it's a big block Chevy engine. So it's maximizing, the spring. The thing that bothered me was these little cups that come around. They won't do anything now, because you would need that up here. Let's take a pause and think about it. Well, I just spent about 40 minutes doing this research again. The best thing I can come up with is that if this is or is not the right axle for the car, and the spring doesn't match the axle, I'm not sure because of this bushing discrepancy. Looking at the angle here, they're inboard slightly. So when this flattens out, that should give an agreeable angle of the shackle. I'm going to try one thing here just to see. Just going to set these smaller leaves in here, just like that, just so they stay centered. No, I'm sorry, we want it the reverse way. We want it like this, because I'm going to have to like de-arch this spring completely. And maybe these aren't the right ones for it. I have to reverse arch this spring like 100%. So let me just try this. I'll put the floor jack under it. Just see what happens. What I'm getting at is I'm going to have to take this down to the shop, put it with big clamps on the table, and try to make something happen. As I'm finding out, 1941 was a bit of a in-between year. You see a lot of things change between 37 or so, 41, and then 42 to 48. So see how they're swinging outward now? Like, that's pretty much right. Like, that's correct. Once you get this spring flatter. See, it just went way out of shape here, but I mean, the weight of the car would prohibit that from happening. I don't know. It's a bit of a guessing game. I mentioned I go through this type of thing right here with my travel or my car trailer all the time, where I have to make sure that these shackles don't flip and or reverse when I put weight on it. So see now, I mean, that pretty much, get a little bound up on the axle with the floor jack, but so like once you get into this area here, see, that's it, it's just clipped over. And that's really what I'm worried about. See, if you're driving the car and it's lowered and it does that, all of a sudden it clicks and it's down. So this axle is definitely, I mean, this spring is definitely too wide. Like, definitely. Because that's what would happen. It would go up over a bump, it would land on whichever side, and one would go over the center, and then it's locked. It's never going to come back. So, yeah, it's a big guessing game at this point, because a lot of the hot rod axles I've seen, you know, these come in like this in the center. So that's where it gets confusing. There's only so many options. Most of the hot rod stuff you see, the spring is over the axle or behind the axle. That's what's really frustrating the heck out of me with this. And these upper spring perches, they're 41, you know, give or take, but they're basically 41 inches on center. So this spring, uncompressed, is 40 inches. So I feel like a 41-inch uncompressed spring would be adequate. Because this coming inside, I mean, what if they did turn in like this, then a 38-inch spring might work. I mean, that would definitely potentially work. But when this comes around, is that going to hit here? I think that's why these are angled like this, because these are meant to swing out. There's some pictures, and they all seem to swing away. I'm stuck. That's really what it comes down to. Anybody got any tips, tricks, techniques? I have from shackle mount to shackle mount in the rigid part, it's 41 inches wide. The spring is going to want to be just a bit wider than that. And this one, yeah, this one's an inch narrower. This spring unsprung is 40, so it's a lot of messing around. We're going to have to find a spring. You know what? I'm going to do some research. I'm going to work on the Volkswagen next. Thanks for wasting your time with me. I appreciate it. Let's do something more productive next time. I'm going to order a spring online and see what we come up with.